I just wanted to make this really quick video to go with my blog post, which explains the difference between 4 types of crochet bubbles. I think sometimes it's easier if you can see them moving. So I'm just going to go over these 4 types of bubbles that you can make with crochet. Here we have what I call the classic bubble. This one is a puff stitch. This one is a cluster stitch bubble, and this one is a popcorn. Let's have a quick look at them. So I'll just move those out of the way. So this is your classic bubble, which is made by yarning over it, pulling up a loop multiple times and then pulling through all of them. I have a separate tutorial for that, which I'll link. You can see it sticks out nicely. It's got these little strands. You work this on the wrong side. It's quite flat on the reverse side. That's what I call the classic bubble. Next you have the puff stitch. So the puff stitch is made in a very similar way to the classic bubble. You essentially just add a chain 1 at the end of the stitch, but it creates quite a different effect. So on this, you can see the puff stitch on both sides. So although I encourage working it on the wrong side, it is, or it could be seen as a double-sided stitch, which is the only one of the bubble stitches that really do that. Puff stitches also look really great and create a lovely fabric when you just work them on their own without any stitches in between. So that's the puff stitch. I've got a separate tutorial for this too, which I shall add a link for. Next, this is probably one of the most common bubble stitches. I'd say this kind of even beats the classic bubble, but this is a cluster bubble stitch. So you can see it creates a little dint in the fabric on the wrong side. Again, the stitches are always worked on the wrong side, and it creates this kind of slightly poppy out textured effect. These are made essentially, in this example, by crocheting a double crochet 4 together in the same stitch. I have a separate tutorial for this, again, which I'll link. So that is your cluster stitch. And last but not least, we have the popcorn stitch. This is, I say, a little bit more complicated to make, but actually it's not. Again, I've used, it's a 4 double crochet popcorn stitch. I'll link to the tutorial for this one as well. On the back, you can see again, I've got little dints. They're always worked on the wrong side, so they pop out on the right side. These are probably the most poppy out versions. They're probably most similar to the cluster stitch, but you can see, although I've worked these both with a 4 double crochet increment, you know, the popcorn sticks out much more than the cluster. So if you want the extra texture, then I think a popcorn stitch might be your go-to. You can see just how much, if I put these back to back, see if this works, you can see how much more the popcorn sticks out than the cluster, even if I turn that round. So yeah, but they're both great bobble stitches, all to make if you want a little bit of texture. So there we have your 4 styles of crochet bobble stitch: classic bubble, puff stitch, cluster and popcorn. I tricked myself by putting those back the wrong way. I hope you find that useful, and as I say, I have tutorials for all 4 of these stitches, which I'll link to in the comments, and hopefully you've seen them pop up as the video's gone along. Any questions, just drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe for more tutorials.